Welcome back again. Now we are looking at performance management cycle. There is a unit planning phase where we are decoding the strategic plans from what? From the strategy document. We have said that the basis for performance management, it is the strategy of an organization. So we need to decode what is the strategy saying we should perform on. And it also comes from a clarification of unit or departmental role. So the strategy must be very specific. Who plays what roles? So it must be able to say this is a role for this department or for this unit. And then it also entails prioritization of goals. So while you look at all these bases that gives you a basis for planning, the goals prioritization is key. Which one should we give priority over the other? Which one are immediate? Which one can be achieved in a goal? But how do we start building up from those? And also, it is now the issue of establishing team values. How are we enabled to work together as a team to deliver on performance management? Then there is a performance agreement phase. At performance agreement phase, you devise the work plan. Try to come up with the work plan. How are we going to achieve? Within what time frame? And then you set the key performance areas. Sitting down as a department to discuss, these are the key performance areas where, driven from the strategy, these are what we can do given these strategies. Then you define the outputs. Now once you know that, I have to hire a certain number of people, I have to buy a machine, or we have to print so many documents. Now we look at what are the deliverables exactly. Specify the deliverable. Printing papers, producing reports, and all and all and all. Then define the indicator. We've said printing papers, but printing paper, what if we print one paper over here? No. Then the indicator says printing how many papers. If it is making sure that we have increased sales, then an increase in sale, because that one is a quantifier of the deliverable. And then it is expected also that that agreement is signed, so that a performance management system, a performance agreement, means an agreement between the holder of the job and his or her supervisor. Remember that your initial contract of employment is you and the employee and HR, but this one is a direct and now document that makes you to deal with your supervisor at a department level. Agreement has to be conducted using SMART principles, SMART objectives. Agreement baseline is deliverables extracted from an incumbent job profile. I will add one here. It's an incumbent job profile and the balance scorecard, because a combination of the two will make a performance agreement, because you cannot take the job profile and ignore the strategy, because not all the time that those two, the profile will always talk to the strategy. Management support and progress review phase, the feedback phase. Here it is necessary that observation takes place for evidence and progress. Compiling information for regular, quarterly feedback or monthly feedback and coaching. Constructive feedback is intended to afford employee an opportunity to openly discuss performance and necessary changes. Feedback must be clear, specific, constructive, and honest. The feedback session includes information on deliverables. I was still talking about this deliverable. Is it a clear deliverable? Is it achievable given the resources and all that is going on? Staff members' self-assessment. The person being reviewed must be able to do his or her own self-assessment. The manager's review of the staff and the manager's own review of the staff. So we're talking about both aspects here, trying to come together and agree. Then record the successes achieved for the period under review. We record the successes and probably the failures, so that we can make a corrective action. Then there is an annual appraisal phase, where there is a formal performance review conducted and submitted. Now, when this review is done at department level, it is then submitted to HR. While that is submitted on the department, we look at how best to do corrective actions and the contract review to start the next period. When we start the next period, whatever gaps that we identified the previous cycle, training and development must be ensured to improve performance. That's the corrective action to this cycle. Now, when all is done, it's for the top management in the organization to look at the rewards, but it is also encouraged that these be preset the awarding performance, the award of performance, learning and growth opportunities, promotions, financial incentives. So we are saying it is not restricted to money all the time when we're talking about awards or rewards. There is learning and growth opportunities like promotion, transfers, and stuff like that that can be part of the reward phase, the performance cycle. Performance improvement phase. Identifying negative factors influencing performance. After the discussion of what has happened in the previous cycle, you're looking at what exactly has made one not to be able to achieve, and then you work around that. Eliminate the negative factors that influence performance. That's the performance improvement part. If it was lack of training, provide for training. Lack of resources, let's look at how best we can source resources. And develop competencies of individuals required to achieve outputs and deliverables. So this is very, very, very critical, because you expect people to deliver. You must also capacitate people in terms of the competencies for them to be able to deliver those key performance areas. The next one is action planning. Where a negative gap has been identified, it is a priority area for performance. Now we know that we need to tackle this. It's our key performance area. Where time and attention must be devoted to planning what kind of training, remedial action, experience, or coaching is needed, and who must do what by when. We can set objectives in terms of what we expect the subordinate to do in order to help himself deliver the right results, or set objectives to say the supervisor put this in place for the subordinate to be able to perform. Where a positive gap is identified, this may be an opportunity to capitalize on the employee strengths and capabilities, and actions such as promotion, giving the employee a training assignment may be useful. There may be many other plans that can be put in place to motivate a subordinate or an employee to make sure that where they are strong, they are even able to be even producing more than previous period. Winning systems during appraisal process. Performance measurement agreed between employee and supervisor at the beginning of each period. Very, very critical. If you want to win in performance management, this must be agreed at the beginning of the period, and there's no need to postpone this, looking at it on the second month, on the third month of the year under review. That one, or you'll be planning for a failure. So it's better to do it at the beginning of the period. Identify and support strengths. Identify and correct weaknesses. One key also is career development. If we are to use this profitably, it must inform career development in the organization, at individual and at organization level. This exercise must inform succession planning for the organization, because you know strengths, you know who is weak at what, and you'll be able to say this is the right candidate for whatever. So this must help us in making the right decisions about who to place where in the organization. Training and education and development of needs identification. The process, performance management, must allow us, or it must give us a basis for training, and for training needs identification, for us to be able to deliver as an organization. An individual development plan is also part of the cycle. This is a key element of an annual appraiser. It determines the competencies required to be competent in the current job. It determines future career. It is done at individual level. I, as a person, I must come up with this. That is after the annual appraisal. During the appraisal, employee identifies activities for meeting the individual development plan. Skills and knowledge to be improved. You can even do it yourself while now in the process of reviewing the performance at the end of the year. How the plan will be achieved and the time frame for the plan is established. You can do it because it's external, it's outside. It's when the performance management review is done. So you can do it and share it with your supervisor, or else you can do it just for your own guidance in terms of what you want to achieve as a person in it. Or it can be asked by the supervisor, can you please do that, so that we know how we want to fare in an organization. In a successful performance, here is a simple routine principle. There is an annual performance agreement between an employer, and at the beginning of the period we have said the employees are praised on agreed performance. The final performance level agreed with senior manager. The result directly linked to salary system. And then there is a new performance level agreement concluded between employer and manager. then it starts afresh again. We agree. Then it goes on. It's a cyclical process. That is what we have to. It's a never-ending process. It's annually or it's periodically. A performance management system must always provision for dispute resolution, which is that phase, the last phase of the performance management. Dispute on performance appraisal or any aspect of performance management is declared in writing to management. You know where we are supposed to talk about performance and then emotions are flying, clouding the performance, and those issues, or sometimes disputes in agreeing on performance itself, outcomes and stuff like that. It must be in writing to management. Dispute is referred to performance management committee for conciliation and mediation so that people are made to see things similarly. Unresolved disputes are channeled for further resolution through national labor and industrial relations law. So that is why, because we have said this is an honest exercise. So the understanding is that we won't even reach there if we continue to tackle it as an honest exercise. With that said, we are going to look at the next session after this one, which is the KPIs in perspective. See you then. Thank you.